I'll see you 500. Raise it 2,000.
Guys, you're free to do what you like. It's a lot of money. But I'm staying in. He's trying to buy his way out of his bluff. Josh? 2.
Atta girl.
Call.
Call.
Let's see him.
I'm not sure what 4 9s does, but the ace I think is pretty high.
Dude.
Thanks for the tip on calling out the bluff.
Three Films and a Podcast has no claim of ownership on any film footage used in this episode. All film footage is owned in its entirety by the copyright holders and is used solely with the intent of film criticism, commentary, and education under fair use law. And just like every car in Too Fast, Too Furious, this podcast contains spoilers. Enjoy.
Hi there, welcome back to Three Films and a Little Podcast, which is our offshoot of our parent pod, Three Films and a Podcast. The idea behind these little podcast episodes is they sort of divert from the normal theme of our show, which is, of course, a rotating system of rounds in which we watch 3 movies that all revolve around a central theme. But for these little podcasts, they can be literally anything. We've done some watch parties, we've done some movie drafts, we've done recaps of previous rounds of movies we'd watched before we started this podcast. And tonight I wanted to introduce a brand new thing that we're going to give a shot to. We're calling it our emergency recast. And for this week, we're going to be recasting the movie Ocean's 11 from 2001, starring a whole slew of awesome people and directed by Steven Soderbergh. So as you've, I'm sure, been able to discern from the name of the segment, we're recasting Ocean's 11. And the reason I came up with this is I was watching it one night a few months ago, and I was realizing, I love the movie, and I was realizing it was such a really cool sort of timestamp of like the hierarchy of Hollywood at the time. It seemed like, from top to bottom, it was sort of a really good indication of where Hollywood is at the time and who the leading men and women were. Well, mainly men.
And
who the
woman.
leading men were, and one and like they threw in one of the top women in Hollywood, threw him a bone. But I thought it'd be really cool. I was really thinking like, what would this movie look like if it were made today? And I don't want it to be remade. Like we don't. This isn't because we think it should be remade, not because we want it to be remade. But I thought like, what if every copy of Ocean's 11 just vanished from the earth? I think this movie is good enough and is such, because of the way it sets itself up to be a timestamp and sort of like the hierarchy of Hollywood, like a movie like this should exist. So let's remake it. Let's make sure that we can get it back into the Library of Congress. It'll be new people. So I thought, let's recast it and let's do it on the podcast. And here we are. And we've got the Ocean's 11 superfan, Jacob Draper, here to help us keep the record straight and make sure we stay true to the movie.
I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry for you. You set yourself up to fail here. You're like the Utah Jazz with the best record in the NBA. Target on your back.
That's right. Every night I come out to talk Oceans, like people know.
So when I first thought of the idea, the original idea was to get it to look as close as it could to the original. So that meant like trying to match the look of the actors. But then I kind of realized that that's not going to work if we want it to be like a snapshot of the who's who of Hollywood. So we've sort of, we have a very loose structure for this. I think all of us might pick our people under different criteria. And I think that's kind of cool because we'll get to see different versions of the movie. So
Yeah.
We had talked about maybe limiting like one selection for an actor. Like, so if someone were to pick, let's just say George Clooney, recast him into a different role, then he could only be taken once and he couldn't be on anyone else's list. But I think I'm going to revise that to they can't be for the same part, but you could recast that same actor for a different role. Because I think it'd be kind of cool to see how we might think different people can do different things. So, and frankly, I don't know. I'm not good enough at Hollywood. I don't know enough people to have more than a couple backup picks. So
Cool. No, this is going to be good. I'm very excited.
Ben, I know you pulled up a randomizer. Do you want to set the
Yeah.
order for this thing?
Let's figure it out. I had to fix it because I initially had Ben, Matt, Fuzz, and Tyler. I was like, well, that didn't look correct. So then I figured it out. So now that I've got the names all in order, let's see what we've got here. All right. First pick, Fuzz/Tyler once again.
Yes.
Second, Matt. Third,
Yes.
Jacob. Fourth is me. So I figure like we'll start with director. Fuzz, you go with yours first. Then we'll go through, and then once we get to Clooney, Matt will start that round, and then Brad Pitt, Jacob, and I will be whoever is after Brad Pitt, Bernie Mac. So does that sound good?
That sounds great.
Yep.
Okay.
And I love when this happens. I forgot we were going to do directors. So I'm scrambling to figure it out. And I know who it is, but I just have to like double check some things. And we're good. So, like I said, I didn't know we were going to do directors. And this is a real wild card pitch here, but I think it's appropriate. I don't know how up on Rick and Morty you guys are. And I know this is one of the rules of Movie Club is no TV talk, but we make the rules so we can break the rules.
Yeah.
And they just, in their latest season of Rick and Morty, they did a really cool parody of heist movies, and they poked fun at Ocean's 11 a lot.
Rick Sanchez, you son of a bitch! Need some people for a thing, Glar. My name's Glear these days. I play piano.
Hey, Glear, play your piano.
I quit. Ugh. And the name's Glar.
And it's really funny. There's a lot of things they pull. They have like like that sort of like 90s like drum and bass soundtrack.
Yeah.
They have that in the episode a lot, and they make a lot of references to Ocean's 11 and stuff. So I'm gonna go Dan Harmon.
I like it.
I like to see the spin he would put on it. I think he would. It was a parody that was made. Typically, they're made with love, right? So he knows. I think he could put it together. I think he'd have a lot of funny humor, and I think it would be a really cool direction to see it go. So yeah, I'll take Dan Harmon with my wild card first pick that I'm unprepared for.
Well, I mean, also like just quickly being, the creator writer of Community and all the love Abed has for movies, like, that's all coming from Dan Harmon. So I think it's a great choice. That's a really good choice.
He's always doing parodies of genres on Community as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I feel better about my pick now, guys. I appreciate it. I kind of almost thought it was a throwaway pick for a second, but
not here, not on the pod.
That's a great pick.
Very supportful. I love it.
I've told them before that we don't have enough conflict on the pod. We all just agree on things.
Yeah.
I promise to crap on Matt's pick no matter what it is. If that's
we
what we
more
need to bring,
conflict.
I'm ready.
That's the dynamism that we need on this pod.
That's
to be honest. So.
I think I just did my first errant word throw.
Less supportful, more dynamism.
I was doing so well. That's
All right, Matt, let's hear your director. Yeah.
No, I mean, I think Jake was kind of hitting on where I was kind of thinking with directors, and I didn't pick what he said, but when you think about action and snappy dialogue, that's also funny. I couldn't help but think of the now classic time heist of Avengers Endgame.
Oh yeah,
and I got to throw on the Russo brothers.
I like it.
Okay, I like
That's also Community alums.
Also Community,
Also directed the paintball episodes, so they know their way around an action set for sure. I mean, obviously, that's why they got Avengers, but nice tie back to Dan Harmon.
So
Love
good.
Good. That leaves mine open, and I was a little worried because I did toss his name out a little bit earlier. And this is one just because the movie's going to be beautiful. It's going to be really, really cool, and it's going to be from Ryan Coogler.
Nice.
Okay.
Because I'm just thinking of Creed, Philadelphia. He's going to pull that same type of aesthetic, pull it over into Vegas and make it really lived in Vegas, which was stuff that when I watched it recently, I was kind of pulling out those bits, a lot of yellow wash and hues and throughout the casinos and being in the warehouse, like just outside the strip. I like thinking about what Coogler's going to do with that sense of place.
Yeah.
And then also he's going to get his best out of the actors. Like they're going to bring it and it's going to be fun. So that's why I want Coogler on this one.
I like that.
That's awesome.
I like that a lot.
worried when I saw that I was going fourth because, like, well, mine is definitely going, and mine did not. So
Steven
I'm very happy about
Spielberg.
that. Steven Spielberg.
And the director
No.
is Steven Soderbergh.
Steven S. No, my pick was really just based off of like, this is a great ensemble film. What's the last great ensemble film I saw? It was Knives
yeah.
Out. So I'm going with
Yes,
Ryan Johnson.
I knew. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a killer pick.
I think
That's a great
he would just
Perfect
he
for
knows
the
how to
mystery
work with
box.
a group. Yeah, exactly. Like he knows how to do that stuff. He can do the action, with Star Wars. Like I just feel like he could handle whatever is coming his way here. So I got to go with
That
Ryan
would be
Johnson
so
for
fun.
mine.
Yep, great choice.
When you started talking about ensemble films, what about David O. Russell? I think he could do a pretty good job. It might have a little bit of a harder edge to it, but he can work with an ensemble, and I'd be interested to see how he put this together because he's very dialogue heavy. So
I was
Yeah.
going to say the dialogue, if we're pulling like a Silver Linings Playbook style and just kind of dropping it over here in Vegas, I think that would be excellent. That'd be fun.
That means you got to have the second J-Law in there. I don't think he makes movies without her anymore. So
So are we just going to go top billing down? So next up would be Danny Ocean.
yeah, I'd say Danny Ocean with Matt.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, Danny Ocean was the last person I cast. By the way, I have to point out that Danny Ocean's one of the most amazing names in any movies.
It's great.
I know this is a remake, but Danny Ocean's just such an awesome name.
And of course, he leads a group of heistmen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like that's of course
Yeah.
Danny Ocean
Yeah,
is
with
doing
Danny
heists. He's pulling 8-figure heists per person. 9-figure heists total. With Danny Ocean, of course he does.
Yeah.
I mean, assuming that he's a criminal, so that could be a pseudonym. Assuming that's his given name, like he was born into it. Like the guy didn't have a chance.
He lived up to it.
I think
I'd love to
this is a
meet
great
Mr. and
nature
Mrs.
nurture
Ocean.
conversation. That's right.
No, but I mean, I have a list of people that I would love to see play this role. But with the cast that I provided, that you'll hear later on, I put Mr. Jake Gyllenhaal in place of Danny Ocean.
Interesting.
All right.
I'm so glad he picked that.
Interesting.
Jake,
So
Because it could be Maggie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Swap him out.
As I
Swap him
always
out.
say,
I'd follow
what
Maggie
happens-
anywhere.
I mean, they're identical actors, right? Like
Yeah.
it's just which binary do you want?
swap them.
So good.
What role could Jake Gyllenhaal do that Maggie couldn't do better?
It's true.
There might not be one.
we haven't found it yet.
So are we getting like a more normal Jake, like a Homer from October Sky? I guess that's a younger version.
This is not
I'm
a
just
Homer
trying to-
Hickam. This is not a
There's
Homer
no
Hickam. This
Homer.
is
Is it
a
the guy from
Mysterio.
Nightcrawler?
Oh,
Okay,
it's
this is
not.
Mysterio. All right,
Okay.
Mysterio. Great. I would
Smug, a
just as
little
long
more
as it's not
smug.
the Nightcrawler, bug-eyed, super skinny, nutso Jake Gyllenhaal. I'm that's fine. That's
Love it.
fair.
I had Jake for a few different roles. I couldn't slot him in as Ocean. I'm surprised. Not that I don't think he's charming, but there's just something about Clooney that
Yeah.
I mean, he's Clooney's Clooney for a reason, and I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I just don't know if he's quite the same charisma and he's not the same gravitas, but I could be wrong.
I mean, Jake's on my bench too. I couldn't find a spot to put him in with the other people that I had, but
No, he's in on
I think
mine.
he'd be great.
He's
You're in.
there.
You're in.
And I'm not a huge Jake Gyllenhaal guy. I'm not a huge George Clooney. I mean, I love George Clooney in the roles that he does, but
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not like a Clooney guy.
Jacob's
We're
gonna
fin-
leave. It's like, oh,
We're
connection's
finding
bad.
out right now that Matt is not of this earth. Do we have to report him to the authorities because he doesn't like George Clooney?
I like George Clooney. I like George Clooney.
He's not a Clooney guy because Matt's a Clooney alien. Apparently,
yes, yeah.
he's not.
Clooney pick, bro.
The only thing Clooney's done that I don't like is his newest coffee commercial. I don't know if you guys saw it in the Super Bowl.
I have not
It's like
seen
this
it.
super pretentious, like coffee's gonna save the world bullshit. I don't know. I hate it quite a bit. Clooney, you disappointed me.
Again, just like the Utah Jazz, you can't win them all.
You
Yeah.
can't win them all.
Clooney is the Utah Jazz, is what we're saying.
That's how it goes.
That's
He
what we
wishes.
found out today.
Wait, Matt, did you pick a director?
I did. It was the Russo brothers.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. My apologies.
All right, Jacob, let's hear your Danny Ocean.
Okay, my Danny Ocean, it fits along with my Ryan Coogler pick. just as David O. Russell does not make a movie without Jennifer Lawrence, Ryan Coogler does not make a movie without Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, nice.
I needed
Great
a
choice.
leader of men. I needed the hot guy, mega charisma, mile to melt all the hearts, and it was going to be him. The person who I had on my bench, and it was more, I was just sad because I came at it from who's a guy who's super cool, who's a leader. And I
hold on.
thought
Should we go over our bench picks now? Should we go over bench picks now, or should we wait till it's fully cast?
That's a fair point. Also, I'll save it for later.
Okay.
So we don't get there. But I really like my bench. But Michael B. Jordan for Danny Ocean to lead this crew of heist people.
Yeah,
for sure.
To stealing money from Benedict.
He was on my short list for sure.
Yep.
Well, I would like to take the time to answer your question about who's a super cool guy that's a leader, and he goes by the name of Poe Dameron, otherwise known as Oscar Isaac.
Oh, I love it.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
My Danny Ocean to team up with Ryan Johnson again.
You stole it from me, Ben. You son of a gun.
I don't know. I was just thinking about like who would I equate to Clooney now? Maybe it's just like the tall, dark, handsome, whatever. But like, I think he's suave. You know, if you've seen like, I think it's like A Most Violent Year. I forget the exact name of that movie. But like, even outside of the Star Wars stuff, like Oscar Isaac is charming as shit. You know, and I just think, I think he fits great into this role. So that's who I went with.
So substitute tall, dark, handsome with small, dark, handsome.
Small, dark, and handsome. Yeah, exactly. I don't know how tall they are. Dark and handsome. Just dark and handsome.
That's a great pick, you son of a gun. Wait, who's up now?
You are.
Oh, radical. So I thought it's funny because when I first came up with this and I was watching the movie doing this in my head, Oscar Isaac was the first person I picked for Danny Ocean.
Oh, really?
Wow. And so I had him slated as my Danny Ocean pick. But once I started filling out the rest of the bracket and really thinking about this, to me, Danny Ocean is like top billing, like top of the top.
Yeah.
And I think Oscar Isaac is on the rise there. I don't know if he's quite there yet. So I sort of changed it for that reason. And so I've got it down to I've got it down to 4 people, but 2 real ones. And gosh, man, I think because this character also needs to be very witty and, silver-tongued, I'm going to go with Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a really good one.
I thought about him for other things in this movie.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, he can fit a few different things, but to me, just because I like the idea that it's like the who's who, and he along with my other person I agonized over would have been Leonardo DiCaprio. And
he's my number 2.
Yeah,
I had Leo on my short list.
Yeah.
Yep.
Another one I thought of at the very last minute, who I think would be really, really interesting and would change.
Wait, are we talking about our bench now? Or are we saving it for later?
Oh yeah, we can do bench now. I just figured once everyone does their pick for the role, then we can do the bench.
Go for it.
What about The Rock?
I had The Rock on my short list as well.
Okay, yeah, I think that's
he's too strong though. That's the problem with him. Is Danny Ocean's the smooth talker? He's got friends everywhere.
Yeah,
Danny Ocean knows a guy, and The Rock's he's a strong guy.
But don't you think a guy that looks like that and has the charm and charisma that The Rock has?
Just keep him in a suit. Keep him in a suit. And,
ballers.
I think he can do it. I think he'd be interesting for sure.
All right.
I think it's a great call. Ashley would agree with you because that's the first thing she recommended. Like, well, if you're doing like an ensemble, it's got to be The Rock's got to be in there somewhere, not necessarily Danny Ocean, but yeah.
The Rock,
and he is like the biggest movie star in the world,
right?
And so that makes sense to me as far as the leader role. My sad one was Chadwick Boseman because I thought that he just because he's got that thing that draws people to him, and that's kind of a little bit of the Clooney the stuff. And I think that it would be fun to see him getting a little quick, and getting with it. So I had a Boseman. I thought about Chris Evans as well, kind of drawing from that lead man. I thought he'd bring a little bit of his kind of the acerbic side that you see in Knives Out to this. And so I thought that would be fun. Those were a couple of guys I had for Danny.
That's awesome. Well, who you got for your Rusty Ryan?
Okay, so Rusty, this one, you have to get a hot guy. Brad Pitt was at his peak. This was Fight Club time. He's the hottest man in America. It could have been Michael B. I put him for Danny. For Rusty, I'm going to pull in Ryan Gosling.
Nice.
per advice of my lovely wife.
Yeah.
Love it.
I
Short
think
list.
that I would keep him, even though we're 20 years later, I would keep him wearing very ginormous collars
Oh,
and
yeah.
very long suits.
And eating
The
nonstop.
wardrobe is not changing.
Yeah.
The same rusty,
Same
rusty
exact
wardrobe.
wardrobe.
But I put it on Ryan Gosling. I think we could get him eating, same
Mhm.
deal as Brad Pitt. But I think he would pull in that attractive kind of con man guy. He could do voices, do different things. I thought he'd be fun to see.
That's awesome. Mine, I don't think he has the star power right now that Pitt had back then, but as far as like handsomeness, I think they're kind of going toe to toe here. My Rusty Ryan is going to be the greatest thing that Denzel Washington ever made, which is John David Washington.
Ooh, that's a good choice.
That's who I'm going with for mine.
Very,
I
very
think he's obviously super handsome. I think his wit is there, like from Black Klansman, even a tiny bit intended. Like we see that he can handle like those jokes and that back and forth. And again, like with my movie, I'm like, yeah, I could see him and Oscar Isaac like bantering back and forth. I can picture that happening. So yeah, that's my my Rusty Ryan is John David Washington.
Nice.
I like it.
And now it's you, Tyler.
Oh, rad. Cool. All right. No, you're good.
I feel like I made this more confusing than it needed to be.
Yeah, I genuinely have no idea what's going on. So you just tell me and I will be there. Okay. Well, I wanted to take someone that you already took, and we already discussed him a little bit. But I'm going to go with Chris Pine rather than sit here and explaining it forever.
Cool.
I'm going to go with Chris Pine. I think he's got that like fast talker handsomeness. He's got the charm, and he's sort of like, he's a little more on the rise than maybe Brad Pitt was at the time this movie came out. But I don't know. I think he's got some heat to him, and I mean that both figuratively and literally.
I think those two are good analogs because they're both like pretty hot dudes, but they're really good like character actors. They're they can get weird and fun.
Yeah,
I think that's a good call.
And I think he would have some fun. He'd have a good dynamic with Robert Downey Jr. If I'm trying to put together an actual cast, that makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, I think he'd be great. All right, Matt.
So I'm in a tricky spot because my number one and my number two have been taken.
Oh man,
I had Ryan Gosling as number one. To be opposite Jake Gyllenhaal. My number two is John David Washington.
Dang.
So I am going to use one that's also been said that I think could plug right into this role. And he's been said already, Michael B. Jordan.
Nice.
Let's plug him in at Rusty Ryan and see where that movie takes us.
I like it.
Yeah.
He'd be super solid.
I thought about him first for Rusty, and then I started thinking about it more, and I got to move him up to the leadership role, but I think he would kill it there as Rusty. I think it'd be funny.
Nice. All right, on to the Bernie Mac role, Frank Catton. This one for me, I went through a lot of different people.
This was the hardest one for me.
Yeah, this one hurt me because it made me remember Bernie Mac.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
it made me really sad.
I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
I was just trying to think of somebody that I thought we've seen just be really funny on screen, kind of a fast talker, kind of a thing, like could deal cards, whatever. So I went with Michael Pena.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
that's
like
really, really good.
Doing his role from Ant-Man, I could just see him just sitting there like, oh, I'll tell you everything, just like breaking down the whole thing. I know it's not necessarily Bernie Mac's role, but I feel like we tweaked it a little bit. I think Michael Pena would fit in there pretty nicely. So that's my pick for Frank Catton.
I like it.
Love it.
All right, Tyler, who you got?
So yeah, this one was a very difficult one for some reason. When I was watching the movie and I came up with this, I came up with someone immediately. But then some of the chats we had in our Slack talking about, basically they don't need to look exactly the same, or, we don't need to necessarily try to cast it in the way that so the actual physical look is the same.
Yeah.
So then it, because I have a person for that in mind completely. And I'll save it because I'm not going to pick it and I don't want to take it in case someone else does. So I thought I want to see Jason Siegel do it.
Oh, cool.
I thought because it kind of keeps that same, he can play like a serious guy. He can play like the straight faced asshole. And he's a big guy. He has that big presence that I think is important for that role. Yeah, I don't know. He's one of the guys that popped in my head after the original when I changed my mind. So Jason Siegel.
I think it's a great call. My
great.
hesitation for Michael Pena came just from that handshake scene, with when he's buying the Vans. I'm like, I don't know that he's big enough to pull that off, but I just liked the idea of him in a card shark
For
scene,
sure.
too much. So I just kept him in there. But
I
think
think
that's
you're
awesome.
Michael Pena really talking about the need to wear gloves before bed.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think that he could really
Get
nail
away
that
my
part
social
for sure.
agenda. I can see that for
Get away my
sure.
social agenda.
That's great. All right, Matt, who you got?
Oh man. So I mean, my criteria for recasting this was not the same as like Tyler's, where I'm trying to go off of star power of the times at all. This is me reading the script and being like, I need to fill this role. Who's filling this? And with the Bernie Mac role, I needed to find someone who's like kind of funny, but also can sweat profusely and be clumsy and all that. So I went with I took it a size smaller. I went Ken Jeong.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
I like
Interesting. And he's sort of like, he kind of feels like he has to be in any Vegas movie, right? Like, because of The Hangover, he's kind of like a permanent resident of like the Las Vegas cinematic universe.
This is a prequel to the first Hangover. That's awesome.
Toodaloo, motherfucker. Hey,
My criteria here, and I looked at a few different ways, and I kind of went out and then I came back to where I really just wanted to keep the scene where you have Damon, you have Andy Garcia, and you have Bernie Mac, and Bernie Mac says you might as well call it White Jack, which kills me every single time. And it was not in the script; he ad-libbed it, but it's just so perfect and so funny.
Want me to get on the table and dance? You like me to shine your shoes? Want me to smile at you? But you definitely won't let me deal the cards. You might as well call it White Jack. Bingo.
And I was just thinking about that scene, and I thought that Craig Robinson could do that pretty well. And that's a little bit more. Here's Bernie Mac today a little bit, even though he's a kind of a little bit less well known. So it wasn't the most creative choice, but I think he could get a little bit more madcap, kind of like he does in Brooklyn Nine-Nine with his Pontiac Bandit role, where he gets really funny with Andy Samberg. I kind of wanted to pull a little bit more of that energy in, and also keep.
I love
White Jack.
that you said that, because that's the person I had in mind when I recast it watching the movie.
When you were saying that, I felt like we were on the same wavelength. Yeah, because it just kind of does feel like, who's Bernie Mac today? It's Craig Robinson.
Right.
It's not out there, but I had to say that scene.
I feel vindicated. I love it.
All right. Should we move on to Ruben? Yeah.
This was another sort of tough one for me, and I only wrote down one person. So I'm going to have to give it to him. And actually, I like the pick. But now, on the fly, in the moment, I'm wondering if I should try and change it to friend of the podcast, whose name I'm forgetting right now. We did a whole round based around him. He was the High Sparrow in Game of Thrones. He was the Pope in the Pope's movie. Jonathan Pryce. I kind of want to see him do this.
They'd be great.
Yeah,
I'm going to take him.
I'm going to pick Jonathan Pryce over the person that, we'll talk about that later.
That's a great pick.
Jonathan Pryce.
So good.
Okay. Well, I love my pick, and I would never have imagined me pick this person had he not done Uncut Gems. I'm picking Adam Sandler.
Yes.
Nice.
That's so good.
Very, very good.
I never even thought about that. It's so
I don't know
good.
if he's quite old enough, but I think it still works. Like it works very well.
Yeah, cage him up. That'd be so good.
I'd love to see him do the scene where he's sitting down and explaining the heists that have tried to happen in Vegas. He's going through all of those bits.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the end, we go way back from the thing and the guy in the place, and I never forget it. Like, I'd love
so
to see Adam Sandler do that whole scene. Would be so good.
Oh man, that'd be awesome. Who you got, Jacob?
Okay, for mine, I'm actually really pumped about mine too. And I had this one, we'll talk about our bench, or we should talk about the bench for this one, because I was just pulling out fire. And I feel like any of these guys could have done it, and I'd be really pumped about it. But I'm going to go with Henry Winkler.
Nice.
for
nice.
my Ruben
Oh, I love
Tishkoff.
it.
I like that.
That's
He's got the Elliot Gould just brings that mega charm, the robe with the hair and the necklaces.
Yeah.
Like he just brings it all. And I feel like Henry Winkler would bring that same type of just jovial hilarity. And he can also bring a little bit of the kind of the bite to him too, that Elliot Gould does. So yeah, I'm going with Henry Winkler.
That's a great,
Love
that's
it.
a great choice. Mine is what I'm excited about. I'm curious to see what the reception is. And I guess since I'm last, I can kind of go over some of my other choices. I thought about like Michael Keaton might be kind of fun
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
to do this.
He came up for me. Yeah.
That was good.
I thought Stanley Tucci kind of doing the Hunger Games guy, would be
yeah,
here.
yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
But what I wanted is just
Paul Giamatti just popped in my head. I hope that's not your
there
guy.
you go.
Yeah, Paul
he'd be good.
Giamatti would be great. Maybe that's what I should take. But who I have here is I want him to tap his inner like theater actor and just like really ham it up and get all flamboyant. And I just want to see Hugh Jackman being
There you go. Yeah,
Ruben.
Okay.
that's good.
I
Love
just think
it.
he could really like get into like, I'm just picturing him like those big glasses and the robe, like we have to
Just a
hide how
big old
cut
stogie.
he is. You know what I mean? Yeah,
That's
but
right.
just like let him cut loose, let him go Christian Bale for a second, just put on 50 pounds and just kind of just like sit back. I don't know. I feel like,
Sort of like
he could fit
Tom Cruise, Tropic Thunder vibes with that.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I want. I just want that kind of a thing. And I just think Jackman, again, like coming from theater and just like greatest showman, like I know he can just like put on a performance and just kind of be over the top, which Elliot Gould, kind of is in this. And I don't know. I thought it'd be a lot of fun in this role. So that's what I put for Ruben. But now that you said Paul Giamatti, I'm like, man, that's a really good choice. But I'm gonna stick with Wolverine.
I mean,
like the
Giamatti's
out
probably
of left field one.
Yeah, he's probably better than my pick too. But friend of the pod, Jonathan Pryce.
That's right. So for the bench for this, I got really excited because, like with all of us, you could go a bunch of different directions, but it's just to choose some scenery, and get in there. And so I thought about Jack Nicholson, but he seemed a little too old.
Yeah.
I was really close to picking Dustin Hoffman.
Oh yeah,
that'd be cool.
Really, really, really close. I think like pulling a little bit. Like him in Stranger Than Fiction, another good movie, but he's a little bit of a straight man, but I think he could kind of get out there and get funnier. And I also thought about Tom Hanks here.
Yeah, I had Tom Hanks on mine
very
too.
close to
I
Tom
thought it'd be
Hanks.
fun to see him.
Yeah.
I also had Bill Murray and Gary Oldman because I thought both of them.
Oh,
if I just get Gary
Murray
Oldman,
would have been very, very good.
he would have been pretty fun in this.
Yeah.
The thing I like about that is it just would have been Bill Murray.
Oh
That's
yeah,
right.
he just
And I
didn't
love
show
it.
up
Like, it would just be really cool.
Just
It's
doing
Bill
his
Murray.
thing.
It's Zombieland Bill Murray. He's Bill Murray. He's gonna bring it.
I had actually cast this one way, and that's when I asked the question, like, what are the stipulations for this casting? Like, are we trying to make the same movie? Because this role I had actually given initially, and it would be way different. This is not the same at all. Tilda Swinton.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah,
She'd be great.
She could pull it and make it because like the thing
It'd
about
be weird.
but like Ruben's thing is he's pissed off. He hates Terry Benedict.
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
bankrupted his casinos. He muscled him out like that. I could see Swinton getting weird and getting kind of scary in there, but in like a funny way.
Yeah.
I that would have been a good time to see what she could have pulled in.
yeah. What about Stellan Skarsgård?
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah,
I think could have
Sounds
been
great.
great. I had John Lithgow too, was who only person I had written.
Oh, that's a good one.
And I
That's a really good one.
I really want him to be it, but for whatever reason, the last second, I had to do it.
What's funny is I had put a few different people on this one for the Malloy twin or the Malloy brothers,
Mhm.
and are they twins?
Yeah,
Yes,
they're
they're the
okay.
Mormon twins.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
from Salt Lake.
So mine is heavily inspired by a few Saturday Night Live sketches that happened this year, and it's these two guys together. I would love to see it, and I have for Virgil, Pete Davidson, and Turk, Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, nice. That's not
Son
where I
of a
thought you were
gun.
going at all.
That's good. That's good.
I
You
would
just
love to
took
see-
half of my guys.
I would love
I thought
to
you
see
were going
those
with
two dudes.
Beck Bennett and Kyle Mooney. It's like, oh yeah, they'd be great.
I
But yeah,
also thought that
That's
because
where
I
I thought
love
you were going.
Kyle Mooney forever.
Yeah.
But this one's a lot more fun and it pulls. I wondered if Chalamet would get in here, and he probably still will. I'm sure he's up for a couple others, but he was one that came up for me that I was kind of trying to place, and I did not think of him for the Malloys.
that's a really
but
good
that's
one.
good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
those two butt heads be so good.
All right, Jacob, what do you got?
Okay, for mine, I'm going to pick. I've been like staring at this as we've been going, and am not deciding until this moment. And I guess it's going to have to be, I don't care who Virgil or Turk is, but it's going to be Jenny Slate and Ben Schwartz.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm basically pulling Jean-Ralphio and Mona Lisa.
Money, please.
I'm pulling them into. They're going to be Virgil and Turk. They're going to bite, but I love their thing together, and I think they would be really, really funny. And I like Jenny Slate just generally.
Oh, for sure.
Like Ben Schwartz by
Did you draft Henry Winkler?
Daddy, come on, I lie to you all the time. All those math camps I said I went to, I don't even know what a math camp is.
So all those postcards that you sent me, all those trophies that you'd won.
Trophies I bought.
I also have something to say. I have done nothing wrong ever in my life.
I know this. And I love you.
I love you too, Daddy. Money, please. My money.
Yes,
so
and
they
I
all
did.
be together there too.
Did not even think about that.
Oh,
I've
so
got a lot
good.
of ties here coming together, but I think that Jenny Slate and Ben Schwartz would be really good, and I really like the idea of her being in the monster truck, calling Ben Schwartz a little girl.
Yeah,
like a little girl.
I think
it'd just be good.
That's so good. Man, damn it! I was super confident what I wanted to do, and now I'm not. But
do it. Just dive in, Ben.
Okay, I went a little. I wanted to make sure, for some reason in my movie, I didn't want everyone to be like absolute A-listers, because I feel like at the time Casey Affleck and Scott Conn weren't huge. You know what I mean?
They were characters. Casey Affleck was still Ben Affleck's little brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Scott Conn was yet to do
He was
Hawaii
James
5-0.
Conn's
And
son.
to be,
Yeah.
that's right. Yet to get huge from Hawaii 5-0.
Yeah, they were just relatives. So I've gone a little bit smaller here, but I'm happy with the casting. I don't care what order they're in, but I went with Samara Weaving and Billy Lord. So Samara Weaving, she was in Ready or Not. She's also in Bill and Ted's. She played, she's the blonde one, I believe. And then Billy Lord, who's Carrie Fisher's daughter. So she was great in Booksmart. If you saw Booksmart, she's the one that's like kind of like on drugs on the boat, just kind of going crazy. But I just felt like the two of them, I was picturing like the role from Bill and Ted Face the Music and that role from Booksmart, and just like those two characters together, I think they could play it really well. And just like Scott Conn and Casey Affleck, they don't look anything alike, you know, like for a second
that
there,
makes it funnier.
And that's what I thought. Cause honestly, initially I had Samara Weaving and Anya Taylor-Joy cause they look so much alike. Like, oh, that'd be kind of funny. Like, I like Billy Lord. Like, I think she's great. And I just would like to see her in this role. So that's who I have for my twins, but I have a bench of twins that I want to go over once Tyler picks.
And you should feel more confident in that pick. I think that's a really fun one.
Yeah,
I think
great.
that's really good.
That's a great pick.
I dig it. So while we had a little break there, for those of you listening, little how the sausage is made, peek behind the scenes. You saw a seamless edit, and you heard a seamless edit of conversation, but really, I had to go take care of my dog. Anyways, during that time, we were talking about how the twins are I actually didn't even come up with anyone beforehand, so I scrambled, and I actually really like who I came up with.
Nice.
And it's sort of the same idea as you, Ben. Like, these people don't look anything alike, but it's kind of, they kind of do.
That's why I had to confirm that they were twins. I was like,
but it's
fraternal.
Sort of makes it
twins.
funnier. But I just really think the interplay between these two would be really fun. And I picked Ilana Glazer from Broad City and Charlie Day.
Oh,
nice. Yes.
I just think, I think she
That-
would be able to work him into a frenzy, and she could play the more like badass,
for sure.
She's Scott Conn. She's Scott Conn for sure.
Yeah.
And he's definitely Casey
for sure.
Affleck.
Yeah. I just think she's really good at being an asshole, you know, and the tell it like it is asshole, and Charlie Day is
get him all riled up.
So
I think that's great.
That's good.
In my scramble, I like what I came up with.
I think it's awesome.
Great scramble.
My bench, I just want to go over it real quick. First one was inspired a lot by Riverdale and my love for Big Daddy, but I thought it'd be fun to actually have the Sprouse twins playing twins.
That'd be cool.
That's good.
And then,
but like Sweet Lifestyle. So
yeah,
they're bringing that
exactly.
energy in.
You know what I'm talking about?
I have a belly button.
You have a belly button? Well, we all have belly buttons. You know what? We all love Yoo-hoo. Especially Yoo-hoo with a little rum.
What's wrong?
You don't know what rum is?
Rumpelstiltskin?
Rumpelstiltskin.
The other one that I thought, again, like these are all just like funny to me. I don't know if they're funny to anybody else, but I wanted to have Tom Hardy and Logan Marshall Green, since they just look exactly the same. And I thought that would be kind of funny to do.
I thought about doing, just as a joke, Noah Centineo and Mark Ruffalo.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And they wouldn't be twins, maybe necessarily, but they're just the same dude.
I would love that.
You know.
And then this very last one was honestly just like kind of inspired by WandaVision, but to have Aaron Taylor Johnson and Evan Peters play twins, I think that'd be kind of funny, cool. Just to have the two Quicksilvers, a kick-ass reunion. I thought that'd be kind of fun, but I wanted to get some ladies in the mix, and yeah, I'm happy with Samara Weaving and Billy Lord.
I thought about Joe Keery and Maya Hawke. Joe Keery being from
Stranger Things, right? Both of them.
Okay.
And I love them together. And I was also stuck a little bit creatively in the people I've seen before that have good interplay, but I kind of just wanted to transplant them over, and I thought they would be funny together. And it would also be the same where Maya Hawke would be the Scott Conn and Joe Keery would be the Casey Affleck.
Yeah.
But I thought that would be fun.
That'd be so cool.
And then I thought of basically just a trillion different people off of SNL. That's it. I was like, do I want to do Maya Rudolph and oh my gosh, why am I blanking right now?
Like Amy Poehler or Tina Fey?
From Bridesmaids. Why am I blanking on
Kristen Wiig?
Yeah, Kristen Wiig. I thought about that one, and I thought that would be funny. I thought of Tina Fey and Amy Poehler, and just putting them in. Again, they're a little much, but I was just like, just pull all of these. Anyone, Beck Bennett and Kyle Mooney could have been in it, and they actually would be pretty funny.
That's where a lot of mine came from, was the age. Like I really probably would have gone with Tom Hardy and Logan Marshall Green, but they're both in their 40s, and like Casey Affleck and Scott Conn were 26 and 25 when they did this, and like I don't know.
That's why I was arguing against Jenny Slate and Ben Schwartz in my head for that, because they are old, and that's why I was like, oh, Joe Keery and Maya Hawke, they're kind of new and fun, but
no, you got to take the route for this.
I had to.
Okay, should we move on to Livingston Dell? Here with Jacob's pick is.
Oh, I'm first again.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this one I could have gone. I was really close to going a different direction, but I'm going to pull in Daniel Radcliffe right here.
Oh,
nice.
I want to see him neurotic and sweaty and just losing it on his hand, and him freaking out and him kind of a little much.
Oh, love it.
Like really, I find really funny. So I'm pulling in Daniel Radcliffe there.
That'd be so good.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I feel good about this, I think. It's like I hope someone takes one of them, because then it's like, okay, then I can pick the other one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was waiting for that too.
I'm going to go with Elliot Page on this. Okay. I think they'd be really good. I think, having them like kind of be neurotic, like almost like intelligent, obviously, like from Inception and stuff like that, but just kind of throw in a little bit of like the neurotic behaviors. I think they'd be great. So yeah, I go with Elliot Page.
Yeah, that'd be a fun
solid pick. Tyler,
that's me. So I'm sort of typecasting someone here, and I'm also breaking a rule of Movie Club, and we're talking about TV a little bit. But from I'm gonna go Thomas Middleditch.
Oh, nice. That's a good one.
I think he can play a really good fumbly nerd.
Yeah.
We'll go with Thomas Middleditch.
Great. Very much typecast. He would have hated to get that call.
That's okay. I'm sorry, Thomas. Sorry, you have to be in one of the most well-recognized movies in history.
Thomas, if you're listening, like and subscribe. So, I mean, my pick, you've heard his name already tonight several times. I'm going with Kyle Mooney.
That was my number 2.
Very, very good.
That's awesome.
Speaking of sweaty hands.
Yeah.
I would love to pull his YouTube character from a long time ago that just can't speak in any way possible. That in here would have been really funny.
Doing all of his like interviews at like the amphibian conventions and stuff like that. Like
the Lakers one.
Oh.
We're here live at Miami to see what the Heat have done. And it's a scorcher too. Must be the sun. But no, it's actually the team. Bron James, Chase Fighters, and C. Daly. These guys are These guys are some of the best they've had. Let's talk to the people and see why this truly is the first team to ever win it.
I watch that stuff more than I should. Like, I love sports is still one of my favorite videos ever.
No, it's
so good. Yep. If anybody wants to give me a super cool birthday present, give me that sports jacket. Okay, so I'm on to Yen, and this for me was the hardest one. And Tyler, before you got here, I was talking to Matt Jacob about it. Like, the guy who played Yen, he's only been in the Ocean's movies. He hasn't done a lot of stuff, so he was like the least popular. But I'm going the opposite route as much as I tried not to. And it was mainly focused around who is an actor that we can believe can pull off these stunts. And so I went with Tom Holland. Because, he cast as Spider-Man, like he did Billy Elliot on stage and stuff. Like, he's got moves. He could do a backflip. He can do that stuff without us thinking like that's 100% CGI. It's like, no, I mean, we know he can do this stuff. That's why he has this role. I don't know if you make him mute or like whatever, like he only speaks foreign languages, whatever you want to do. So he's like plays the same kind of character where no one understands him. But I just, I had to go Tom Holland for the end role.
I think that you could easily see him be an ex-Soviet gymnast.
Yes.
Of some kind.
Yeah, exactly.
Eastern Bloc somewhere.
Like begrudgingly there. It's like, all right.
That's right.
Yeah, sweet. So that's my pick. How about you, Fuzz?
I literally on purpose didn't pick anyone. Cool. I just sort of like wrote insert random acrobat because that's literally what they did in the first one, and it worked out great.
Yeah,
like
it's true.
He probably has one of the highlights of the whole movie when they open the vault. And he's sitting there and he asks them where they've been.
What the fuck you been?
That's probably one of the highlights of the entire movie.
So good.
That, and then also Damon and Clooney's reactions where they're like truly like really sorry. It kills me every time. I love it.
Yeah, it's and so it doesn't need to be anyone. They're a faceless acrobat. So I'm sorry, Xiaobo Chin. How do you pronounce that in like the QI?
I'm not sure.
Showing my ignorance here. But yeah, so yeah, I figure just insert random acrobat. Get someone from the what's that acrobat show in Las Vegas?
Cirque du Soleil.
Cirque du Soleil. Yeah, just go pick someone. You'll be fine.
Yeah, make it work. How about you, Matt?
Mine's boring. I was trying to think of anyone. It's similar along the lines that you've been. I was trying to find someone who would like fit what that character does. But I ended up just casting the show from Ready Player One, Philip Zhao.
Yeah.
Just another young kid.
Yeah. I mean, like Tyler said, that worked in the first movie, just like a person nobody knows that can do it. So yeah, I think that worked great. We'll wrap us up, Jacob.
Okay. So this one was tough. As you can see, I feel like you all, did your best and it wasn't good enough, but that's okay.
It's okay.
Because the actual idea and option here is you do go someone who can do it legit, and you get a freaking gold medalist to do it. And you get freaking Simone Biles into Oceans.
That'd be cool.
And she just does it. She's going to fold in half in a box and drop down. She's going to do the true backflip off, and she's going to kill it. She's got mad charisma. You can make her foreign if you'd like. If not, you can change it around a little bit. But I think that she would bring just enough. Again, there are very few speaking parts for Yen. And I think that's okay. I think it's going to work. Yeah. And I'm excited to see Simone Biles do her own stunts.
It's a really good pick.
I'm going to take half credit for your pick because I literally said any random acrobat.
Gymnast. So guess what? I did the work and I found one, okay? And I found a good one. A freaking American hero.
No, you're right. It's a fantastic pick. It's way better than anything I came up with. So I dig it.
I'm just going for the win here, guys. That's
all right. Fuzz, it's on to you for the next old guy, Saul.
So we got the old guys.
Wait, hold on a second. I'm confused. Who are we casting now?
Carl Reiner's role, Saul Bloom, the guy that Brad Pitt meets at the horse race.
The faceless old guy.
And who was the other guy we cast?
Hi, Grandpa.
You cast the Elliot Gould role, Ruben, who they meet at his house. He's the one that got screwed over by Terry Benedict.
Oh, that's great. So I casted Jonathan Pryce for the complete wrong role. But
perfect.
I like that because now I get to use John Lithgow for Saul Bloom.
There you go. That's good.
Works great.
That's good.
Yeah, that's
you're
perfect.
two guys. That's great.
Yeah, so that's who I thought I was casting. So he's the one that he does the Russian accent and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Acid.
Yep.
Okay.
Which is so
That's
great
great.
with Lithgow. Like
That's
Lithgow's
right.
really awesome
Dude,
at that.
I was sad that you didn't get to use Lithgow, and just
Okay.
throwing him out as your bench really bummed me out. So I'm glad you got to use him.
That's awesome.
I love it. I maybe should have watched this movie today, like our guest, because I'm
That's how I felt too.
But
sketchy.
that worked out for me. I'm glad I got first pick on that one.
Yeah, it was nice. Okay, Matt.
So Saul Bloom, man, I got to go Morgan Freeman. Let's
Nice.
bring Morgan in.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a really
like
good pick. Yeah, that's a solid choice. Jacob.
Oh, man, I was hoping I would get to go last on this one because I'm really torn betwixt two of my options. And I might just go the easier route, which is I'm going to just do Rob Reiner.
Oh, cool.
I like
and let
it.
him come in.
Friend of the pod.
And like, subscribe, Rob.
Yeah.
I love Carl Reiner in this, and Rob's definitely a different dude and a different actor.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about our bench at the end, but I think Rob would still be really funny and good in this, and I want him to bring that Reiner energy that Carl brings. So I'll stick with a Reiner.
I like it.
Rob.
It's a really good choice.
I love it.
I went with National Treasure Christopher Walken.
Ooh.
I thought he'd be
That's
pretty
fun.
good in this role. Yeah, kind of curmudgeon-y old dude, and who doesn't like listening to Christopher Walken? So
Yeah.
if he had
On
been,
this one,
oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you're fine.
I was gonna say if he had been older, the first pick I had was Nathan Lane because I thought he'd be a lot of fun in this role, but he was just still like 15 years too young. You know, Carl Reiner was 79 and Christopher Walken's 78, so they're like right there. So I had Nathan Lane initially, but I was like, I don't know, it's still just too young for my taste. So yeah, I'll go
And
with
that's
Walken.
why I almost went with De Niro for that reason.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He's
That'd be
old,
cool.
and it would have been believable. One last job, he can act. Like that was really, really hard. And Michael Caine was also there for me too.
Yeah.
And I really I was all of those dudes are ripping around,
Michael
and
Caine would
I
be
pulled in Forrest Whitaker as well. That was like my really deep bench for Saul. That was a fun one to try to recast, and I'm almost kind of regretting it, and maybe thinking I should go with De Niro.
Too late.
Too late.
You're
Locked
locked
in.
That's fine. Rob Reiner.
Stuck with Rob.
Hey, Rob Reiner's not a bad place to be stuck.
No, I'm happy with it, but that was a tough one for me.
Understandably. So we're on to Linus.
You're Bobby Caldwell's kid, huh? From Chicago?
Yeah.
It's nice there. Do you like it?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Get in the goddamn house.
Yes.
I think so.
And Matt.
Linus Caldwell. I chose to replace Matt Damon with one Michael Cera.
Nice.
Nice. That's a
I
fun
like
one.
that.
I like that. That's good.
Bumping into people on the subway.
Yeah.
I could see him with some quick hands. Just being the point of Linus, you know, he's trading off his dad, or trying not to trade off his dad's name. His dad's a legendary thief. And I could see Sarah kind of bringing that, like a little bit of the Arrested Development, like trying to rebel against his dad type stuff in there. I think that's pretty good.
That's a really good one.
I can dig it.
Who got Jacob?
I have for Linus, and I thought this might have gotten taken. Tom Holland.
Yeah.
I pulled in here.
Yeah.
So Tom Holland, he got pulled into Yen's spot, but I was trying to think of who's like a guy who's young up and coming, who's kind of like everywhere, who's super charming, and you could kind of see believably is like the younger brother type guy, which is what Damon was at this time in 2001. He was Brad Pitt and Clooney's younger brother. Now I feel like we see them more as peers, so it was a little hard to divorce that. But I thought Tom Holland could have gotten some real good younger brother, kind of trying to fight for his own type energy.
For sure.
I think it was a
I had him
solid
on my
choice.
list.
I feel like I always do this when it comes to me. Like, which one do I want to do?
I was so sure on a lot of my picks, and then as soon as we started recording and you got to me, I'm like, oh no, what
do I do?
I need to change.
Yeah.
Instant regret. Yeah.
And as the editor, I'll be cutting all of this out, but I'm just going to be doing a little research right now.
Hey, if you're going to help yourself out, you better help me out.
We'll do it. Yeah.
I've had some rough goes on this pod.
Okay. I'm going to revert back to my first choice. I was worried because I also watched Oceans today, and Matt Damon just kind of has this like nerdiness to him. Like he's got to be inconspicuous in this, you know, obviously like being the pickpocket and stuff, but there's also just this side to him that's just kind of like unsure of himself. Like you said, he's trying to like build himself up. This was my first pick, and I still kind of worry that he's too cool, but he's an actor, so I'm sure he could pull it off being a little nerdy. And I'm going to go with Daniel Kaluuya. I think he could be.
That's good. That's a good one. I thought about him for this.
Really good in this role, mainly along like the pickpocket side. Like I thought about a lot about his character from Widows, where he was just like, he's an intimidating like second person, you know, and as far as just like they do a lot of like staking people out and stuff. And I got thinking about that side of the Matt Damon role, where it's like, I think he could do this. I'm honestly like a little back and forth on it even right now as I'm saying it, because I know he's a great actor, but I'm like, he might just be too fucking cool. Like I just don't know that like he can be nerdy. I don't know. I'm gonna audible. I'm audibling. I'm sorry. It's still my turn.
Oh snap!
I mentioned this guy.
It's never been done on the pod before.
Never been done before. I'm switching it up. I love you, Daniel. Congrats on your Golden Globe, but I'm going with Evan Peters. Mentioned him earlier. I think he could do this pretty well.
I like that.
You know, obviously, like we all know him as Quicksilver, but you know, from all of his stuff from the American Horror Story. I don't know if any of you guys saw American Animals, but he's really good in that. And I can buy him, I think, a little more of just kind of being like the unsure, nerdy dude, whatever. So I'm switching it up. Evan Peters, final answer. Locking it in.
Wow, what a roller coaster!
The roller coaster took you guys on. Sorry.
Oh, it was nice to watch someone else do that, because I feel like I've done that every pick. Sit there and waffle about forever.
What do I do?
Well, this is the one I feel most confident about. In fact, this was one of two that I circled. Like you can't change my mind on these, and if someone steals them, I'm pissed. And no one did. I'm taking Don Glover to play Linus.
Oh,
I think he can play that like unassuming sort of fly on the wall, overlooked sort of shy guy, but he also is really cool and smooth. So like, he can dance. He can like really like the pickpocketing scenes. I can see like he could really do that really well. And then he can also play like the meek, scared guy.
Yeah.
And plus he's a goddamn national treasure. So
he really is.
I got to put him in here somewhere. So yeah, we'll go Donald Glover.
I'm wicked jealous of that pick. Actually, I'm sad that I didn't think
pretty proud of it.
That's a great choice. And is it you, Matt?
I started this one.
Oh, you started it. Yeah. Okay. So we're on to Basher with Jacob.
Okay, Basher. So when I was younger, I mean, I love Don Cheadle in this. He's perfect. But because I was an idiot, I was like, man, that guy must be British. His accent's excellent. And now everyone jokes about it because it's terrible. So I'm going to pull in an actual Brit, and I'm going to get John Boyega in here.
Okay.
Yeah. So he brings that big Basher energy to me. Like Basher's loud. He's brash. He knows what he's doing, what he's talking about. And I think John Boyega can really bring that fire. And the humor too. So the goofiness.
Yeah.
One of the best, most underrated scenes is when he's about to light the pinch, when he just covers himself up and leans away, just like I love that. I think Boyega could really pull that off well, so I'm going to go with John Boyega there for Basher.
Well, and judging by his response, it sounds like Matt's in a bit of Barney.
Hey!
Barney Trouble. Okay. I only wrote one person down for this, so I'm really glad that this person's available. I am also with you, where I don't know that I knew Don Cheadle. I was like, oh, that's a cool British guy.
Yeah.
So I'm also going to go with a real British guy. And I think this inspiration kind of came from Rogue One. I'm going with Riz Ahmed.
Ooh,
that's really good. Yeah,
I think he'd be really good in that Basher role.
That's super cool.
But one of my favorite lines just from any movie for some reason, not favorite, but one I say a lot all the time, and I'm not going to do the accent because it's going to be horrible. But it's like when he walks into the safe and he's like, "Oh, leave it out." Like
leave it.
I don't know why I love that line so much. Like, oh,
You're
leave
the
it out.
tosses. You have one job to do. I
It's
love
so
that
good.
too.
So I just want to hear Riz Ahmed say that, but I think he would also just fit in with this group really well. So yeah, that's my choice for Basher.
Oh, leave it out.
Such a good
Love
pick.
it. I love it. Is it me?
It's you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was afraid of that. So Basher is also, it's kind of funny. I had Donald Glover for Basher, but when I thought about it, I'm like, no, he's not Basher. He's too good for Basher. Not that, not that.
No offense, Don Cheadle.
What? Yeah, there it is. I was blanking his name. No offense, Don Cheadle, but I just couldn't do Don Glover like that. So
I hope you do the reverse Iron Man 2 and cast Terrence Howard in this role. let's swap them.
Nice.
You can be Basher now.
I feel like Basher, he can be sort of any different type of character, right? Like his character, who his character was, didn't really seem like, to me, it just like you could replace that with any type of person, right? You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be that. He doesn't have to be British. He doesn't have to be any one thing. I don't think.
Yeah.
And I just want to see this person with all of these people, and I just would like to have him in this movie. So I'm going to put Jonah Hill.
Oh, cool.
My Basher pick.
That's a good one.
Yeah, he'd be great.
Solid.
I'd love to see him.
Because, him being British and him being any of these other different things aren't the same as Danny Ocean being suave and charming, or Linus as being sort of like the little brother type or whatever. It's not important to his character, the things that his character does. I don't think so. I just want to see Jonah Hill in it, give him a few lines. He'll say some funny stuff. And yeah, I think we'll all be happy with it.
An angry Jonah Hill is a funny Jonah Hill.
Yeah, for sure.
And Basher, he goes off a few times, and that's
for
a
sure.
good time.
Yeah.
My pick for Basher, since Jake took John Boyega, would have to be, I got to go with again a Brit, and think along the lines of Good Time. I'm taking Bob Pattinson.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's a good one.
Bobby Pattinson.
Get the Batman in there. I like it.
Yep.
Yeah, he'd be great.
I dig it.
Okay, Terry Benedict. This choice, I don't know why. I'm just like second guessing all of my choices here. And honestly, I could not find how old this actor was, but the movies that I've seen him in, he is like ultimate suave, cool, like just no faults in him, which I kind of feel like Terry Benedict tries to give across.
Yeah.
So I went with Henry Golding, who you guys might know from Crazy Rich Asians, A Simple Favor, The Gentleman. He's just like super handsome leading man. Like he's great. So I kind of felt like that was the Terry Benedict role of just like, glides into the room. I know everything that's going on in my casino, that kind of thing. So that's who I went with. Yeah. So
I didn't know who that was until I just looked him up, but yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah. So I'm going with Henry Golding here.
I like it.
Sounds
and does that mean it's my turn?
It's all you.
Oh, I'm so happy. So this is the other one I circled. And to me, I'm going to hear your arguments, and I just don't see any way you could disagree with this. And I also don't see how you could make any other pick than this. It's got to be Idris Elba.
Ooh, nice.
It's got to be
that's very, very good.
He is very believable as the tough, no nonsense, do not fuck with me guy.
Yeah.
To me, that's the only right answer is Idris Elba. So next part. What are we casting next?
Next, move on. You guys next.
That's it, folks.
I had different people on my list, and then he came in at the last minute, and I was like, it just was so obvious to me. But
yeah, it's a great choice.
I am actually excited to hear you guys' picks. I'm sorry. Sorry for getting ahead of myself.
I'm excited to hear your wrong picks. But go ahead.
Wow. Okay. I I went for more the brooding aspect of Terry Benedict, guy who has to, basically he has this, casino empire, and who else has led an empire, and that is Adam Driver.
Oh my gosh!
So
great.
I wondered where we were running out of space, and it wasn't going to be Tess, so it's going to have to be.
Well, wait till you hear my pick. Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves here.
That was, that's who I had picked. He was my number one until the last minute. I realized But I can't argue with you because had I not thought of Idris, I would have put him in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd bring a lot of good fury.
For sure. The only reason I was expecting this argument had I picked Adam Driver. I don't know that he's classically handsome in the way that I think Terry Benedict should be, in the way that you can he doesn't look Vegas to me, and he doesn't look like he would have the starlet on his arm necessarily.
Yeah.
We've seen him act alongside Scarlett Johansson, and he's obviously a very handsome man. But yeah, that's my only argument against that pick. But I think he could do the role very well.
Yeah, and that's honestly where my pick for Henry Golding came from, because he just seemed super clean, handsome, it just seemed to fit perfectly. But there may be better options, as far as actors or whatever. But I was just kind of going for that. But I'm excited to hear what Jacob picked.
Me too.
Yeah, this one was a tough one for me, and you guys have done really well, I think, and gone probably. I think that's a very nice through line that you guys have drawn from Andy Garcia into your picks. And mine's a little bit off of that through line, but only slightly, because I was trying to go into that mogul space, and a guy that kind of like you mentioned, Tyler, no one's going to mess with this man.
Yeah.
He knows everything that's going on in this casino top to bottom. And that's going to be Denzel Washington.
Yeah. Solid.
And he's he might be a little old, because Benedict, what I like about the Andy Garcia and at his point in time in his life is he's kind of hard charging and still, he's got a lot of fire in him. Yeah. I think you still get that with Denzel, even though he's on the older side. And I think it's still believable that he would be getting with my Tess and then battling with Michael B. Jordan for her affections. And he would just be a scary guy when he's giving the run and hide speech over the phone.
Yeah.
I think that I would not want to hear that from Denzel.
All right. Now, I have complied with your every request. Would you agree?
I would.
Good, because now I have one of my own. Run and hide, asshole. Run and hide. If you should be picked up next week buying a $100,000 sports car in Newport Beach, I'm gonna be supremely disappointed, because I want my people to find you. And when they do, rest assured, we're not gonna hand you over to the police. So my advice to you again is this: run and hide. That is all that I ask.
That is one thing. As much as we've seen Idris in a couple of different roles. If you're gonna compare him to Terry Benedict, Stringer Bell from The Wire, you could pretty much just put Stringer into Terry Benedict's role. But that's sort of one thing that and despite his level of intimidation that he has in The Office when he plays whatever the hell his name is in The Office. He comes into Charles Minor. He plays Charles Minor. He's an intimidating guy, but Denzel just has that gravitas, right? And that's the one thing, Idris, he's got all that physical presence, but just on voice alone, I don't think he's quite Denzel's level there.
Yeah.
So I think it's a solid pick.
Thank you.
Well, close this out, Tyler. Who's your Tess?
Does he make you laugh?
He doesn't make me cry.
Oh, I get to pick Tess. That's great. So I don't have to worry about it. To me, this was another obvious one in the same way that Idris was. And since we only get one role that's obviously female, and to me, it's Scarlett Johansson. She is Hollywood top billing. I think she is the A-list of the A-list for female celebrities, and she's got that classic beauty to her. Put a red gown on her and have her come down the stairs. She'll look very elegant and in the same way that Julia Roberts did. So to me, it was obvious and it was a runaway, and it was Scarlett Johansson.
Solid choice.
Great pick. She was on the short list. But she was behind Rosario Dawson.
Great pick.
That's a really good choice.
I like it.
You know, I'll never complain about anybody on my Crushmore showing up, so
No, right.
I love it.
That was for you, Ben.
Thank you. Jacob, who you got?
All right. My Tess Ocean. This was a tough one for me. And the idea with Julia Roberts is America's sweetheart, kind of at the peak of like, she could do anything.
Mhm.
We were talking about this a little bit before, but she was just coming off of Notting Hill and Erin Brockovich. And like not long after My Best Friend's Wedding, like she's full powered Julia Roberts, big, massive movie star. And they don't really make them like that anymore.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot different now. So there were only a couple that came to mind for me that kind of had that big star power. And that's why I think I'm going to have to go with Zendaya for my Tess Ocean.
I like it.
Skews a little bit younger than Tess does in this, but I think believably you could see her holding her own against Michael B. Jordan, you know, with Denzel. I think that she would be a really fun. I like her bite kind of the hardness that she does with her in Spider-Man.
Can't believe you guys are at this lame party.
You're here too.
Am I?
I think that she could bring some of that. She can be funny and witty. So that was me literally saying out loud between that and my other choice, but I think it's going to be Zendaya for Tess Ocean.
My only qualm with that is I don't know if I can believe that she has as much history with Danny Ocean being as young as she is. And if she does, it's a little creepy. But
that's a tough one.
We can age her up in the movie. She can play an older role. Okay.
We're going to age her up, and similar to in Silver Linings Playbook, Jennifer Lawrence had to have been aged up. I was thinking kind of on those same lines.
Yeah.
She's older.
No, Zendaya is incredible.
She's 30.
That's
Michael B's got to be aged up too.
Fair. Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, I guess they could be somewhat younger. I mean, the idea was a shot-for-shot remake with just different people playing these roles. But, you know, we could bend the rules a little bit. But I like Zendaya quite a bit, so we'll allow it.
It's great. And again, the joys of going last, I'm going to walk you guys through my process here. So my first thought was a Crushmore. It was Anne Hathaway, but I was like, well, this kind of crosses over with 8. I can't have her be, it doesn't make sense that she'd be in both movies. So
she was on my short list.
I crossed her off. I thought about Elizabeth Debicki, but she's just really tall and Oscar Isaac isn't. And that just felt not right. I don't know why. Just like, I don't know that would work, but, and the person that I actually wanted the most, but I'm not going to take because I didn't realize she is retired, is Ava Mendez. I thought she'd be super cool in this role. I mean, maybe it can be like a come out of retirement role, but she's
one last job.
Yeah. You know, busy with Ryan Gosling and their children. So that's what she's doing. And I think that's awesome. But just like, I think about her, I mean, from anything, but also just like specifically the other guys, like.
Soup's on. Hi.
Hi.
You must be Terry. I'm sorry I've been hiding, honey, but this dinner was tricky. Oof.
Who are you?
I'm Dr. Sheila Gamble, his wife,
Come on, seriously, who is that?
his old lady.
Sweetie, it's a workstation.
Got it.
You come in here dressed like a hobo. It's distracting.
I know you're working. I'm so sorry.
Come on, seriously.
She's super funny in that. So I know she's got the humor. I think she's just, you know, gorgeous. So I think obviously like as far as like filling Julia Roberts' shoes there. But since she's retired, it's like, I don't know that this can work or not. So my actual pick, and this comes twofold, both from recently watching The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and thinking about their reconnection from Ex Machina. I'm going to go with Alicia Vikander.
Okay.
I think she's going to be my
Nice
Tess
choice.
Ocean.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think she just like, I think about like that last like coat or whatever that Julia Roberts is wearing, you know, like the phone gets slipped in. I'm like, I just like picture her in that. Like, I think she fits this role really well. I believe her obviously with Oscar Isaac, because we've seen it before already, but I also believe her being with Henry Golding. So yeah, I don't know. That's who I ended up going with. If Eva Mendes had still been acting, I probably would have gone with her, but I'm going to go with Alicia Vikander as my
like
Tess.
choice. I almost went with Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Being America's sweetheart, picking up kind of the mantle of basically the biggest movie star around, and it was literally as I was talking it out, I zigged a little bit with Zendaya. But that might have been one of the hardest ones for me. I also thought about Janelle Monae in that one.
Ooh, oh yeah.
She'd be great.
That was a little bit kind of out, but I think she'd be awesome. I love her in Hidden Figures. And I think she would be really killer going back and forth in the restaurant with Michael B. Jordan.
I think the obvious pick, if we're going for looks, Emma Stone fits in really well. I think she could actually do the role, and they look a lot alike. I thought about Charlize Theron.
I had her down as my Rusty Ryan. So I think if Matt had been able to go before me and take John David, I would have gone with Charlize, because I think she would have been really cool in that Brad Pitt role.
That would have been way cool.
For sure. Too bad you already... Who'd you pick for Rusty?
I took John David because I was lucky enough to go second there, but I think that was on Matt's list too. So if it had worked out in a different way, I would have ended up with her.
Maybe in another movie.
Maybe another one.
Well, I mean, I feel like this was a pretty successful recast. And the thing I like most about it, and was one of the reasons I wanted to make sure that, we could keep picking different actors and stuff. Although we didn't get a whole lot of crossover. There's not a whole lot of people that show up on all of our casts, but I think it's really cool, as always, the same way that the movie drafts go. You get a really cool glimpse into someone's personality. They're all, I think, obviously all of our lists fit us very well. And it was really fun to just see everyone's different take on it and have a few different disagreements, a few more agreements. And I think it was a blast. Jacob, was it worth your time coming on?
It was a lot of fun. And again, it's fun to go back and look at your favorite movies this way. It's also fun to build the movie in your head with these new people, and it's like, I like you saying the shot for shot remake. That's the only way I could see it, with Soderbergh's awesome camera work and the lighting and just some of the interesting shots that he has. I don't want to lose those. So I'm just plugging in all my people. I think it'd still be a killer movie.
Maybe it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Well, shit. I mean, I don't know what else we could say about Ocean's 11 here. I think, I don't know. I think we'll probably do this again. I know Ben's wanting to do what you want to do, an X-Men recast, right?
Yeah, we talked about redoing the original X-Men, which I thought would be kind of fun. Smaller cast, so it should be a shorter episode, but I still think it'd be, we can finally figure out who should be the next Wolverine. That kind of a thing.
Yeah,
I think
that'll be a fun one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be super fun.
And Jacob, you're coming back, I believe, for North by Northwest for our Hitchcock.
Another of my favorite movies.
So that'll be a lot of fun.
Hitchcock, for sure.
I'm glad you came on. I had a blast. It was really
thanks for coming on.
A good time.
Thanks, man. I did too. It was super fun, and I'm excited for everyone to get to listen to it, and then also to go back and watch the Ocean's 11, which you can do on HBO Max. I found out today.
There you go.
So
good to know.
Well, so if you want to be like Jacob and make sure you have access to being a guest on an episode like this, make sure you're following us on Instagram and to some extent Twitter, mostly Instagram. We're pretty active there. And if you want to have a big part and a big influence on the way this podcast goes and the way it's shaped going forward, we've got options on Patreon. You can choose your level of commitment there, or frankly, just keep on listening, keep on watching, give us a like, subscribe, and if you've got some time, give us a nice, honest review on Apple Podcasts. It would mean a lot to us. And I guess I'll leave it at that. That's 3 films and a podcast signing off, and we'll catch you next time.
See ya.
See you later.